We are going to start the book Wonder. And originally we did this one together live, but I'm going to go back and record it for people that may have missed it. So I will start on page 3, chapter 1. It's Ordinary. And I will read up to page 14, which is where the other recording begins. Ordinary. I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid. I mean, sure, I do ordinary things. I eat ice cream, I ride my bike, I play ball, and I have an Xbox. Stuff like that makes me ordinary, I guess. And I feel ordinary inside. But I know ordinary kids don't make other ordinary kids run away screaming in playgrounds. I know ordinary kids don't get stared at everywhere they go. If I found a magic lamp and I could have one wish, I would wish that I had a normal face that no one ever noticed at all. I would wish that I could walk down the street without people seeing me and then doing that look away thing. Here's what I think. The only reason I'm not ordinary is that no one else sees me that way. Okay, I want you to pause, and you're going to quickly just write a note about something about yourself that if you had a magic lamp, what would you change? So just really quick, pause it and answer that question, and then you can unpause it when you're ready to move on. But I'm kind of used to how I look by now. I know how to pretend I don't see the faces people make. We've all gotten pretty good at that sort of thing. Me, Mom, and Dad, and Via. Actually, I take that back. Via, not so good at all. She can get really annoyed when people do something rude. Like, for instance, one time in the playground, some older kids made some noises. I don't even know what the noises were exactly because I didn't hear them myself, but Via heard, and she just started yelling at the kids. That's the way she is. I'm not that way. Via doesn't see me as ordinary. She says she does, but if I were ordinary, she wouldn't feel like she needs to protect me as much. And Mom and Dad don't see me as ordinary either. They see me as extraordinary. I think the only person in the world who realizes how ordinary I am is me. My name is August, by the way. I won't describe what I look like. Whatever you're thinking, it's probably worse. Why I didn't go to school. Next week, I start 5th grade. Since I've never been to a real school before, I'm pretty much totally and completely petrified. People think I haven't gone to school because of the way I look, but it's not that. It's because of all the surgeries I've had. 27 since I was born. The bigger ones happened before I was even 4 years old, so I don't remember those. But I've had two or three surgeries every year since then, some big, some small. And because I'm little for my age and I have some other medical mysteries and doctors never really figured it out, I used to get sick a lot. That's why my parents decided it was better if I didn't go to school. I'm much stronger now, though. The last surgery I had was 8 months ago, and I probably won't have to have any more for another couple of years. Mom homeschools me. She used to be a children's book illustrator. She draws really great fairies and mermaids. Her boy stuff isn't so hot, though. She once tried to draw me a Darth Vader, but it ended up looking like some weird mushroom-shaped robot. I haven't seen her draw anything in a long time. I think she's too busy taking care of me and Via. I can't say I always wanted to go to school because that wouldn't be exactly true. What I wanted was to go to school, but only if I could be like every other kid in the school. Have lots of friends and hang out after school and stuff like that. I have a few really good friends now. Christopher is my best friend, followed by Zachary and Alex. We've known each other since we were babies, and since they've always known me the way I am, they're used to me. When we were little, we used to have play dates all the time. But then Christopher moved to Bridgeport in Connecticut. It's more than an hour away from where I live in North River Heights, which is at the tip top of Manhattan. So I want you to pause and write down or look up where Connecticut is and where Manhattan is. And then note that at the tip top of Manhattan is where Augie lives. When you're ready, unpause. And Zachary and Alex started going to school. It's funny, even though Christopher is the one who moved far away, I still see him more than I see Zachary and Alex. They have all these new friends now, and if we bump into each other on the street, they're still nice to me, though. They always say hello. I have other friends, too, but not as good as Christopher, Zach, and Alex were. For instance, Zach and Alex always invited me to their birthday parties when we were little, but Joel and Iman and Gabe never did. Emma invited me once, but I haven't seen her in a long time. And of course, I always go to Christopher's birthday. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal out of birthday parties. How I Came to Life, page 6. I like when Mom tells this story because it makes me laugh so much. It's not funny in the way that a joke is funny, but when Mom tells it, Via and I just start cracking up. So when I was in my mom's stomach, no one had any idea I would come out looking the way I did. Mom had had Via 4 years before, and that had been such a walk in a park, Mom expression, that there was no reason to run any special tests. About 2 months before I was born, the doctors realized there was something wrong with my face, but they didn't think it was going to be bad. They told Mom and Dad I had a cleft palate and some other stuff going on. They called it small anomalies. There were 2 nurses in the delivery room that night, and I was born, and one was very nice and sweet. The other one, Mom said, did not seem at all nice or sweet. She had very big arms, and here's where the funny part. She kept farting. Like she'd bring Mom some chips and then fart. She'd check Mom's blood pressure and fart. Mom says it was unbelievable because the nurse never even said, "Excuse me." Meanwhile, Mom's regular doctor wasn't on duty that night, so Mom got stuck with this cranky kid doctor she and Dad nicknamed Doogie after some old TV show or something. They didn't actually call him that to his face. But Mom says that even though everyone in the room was kind of grumpy, Dad kept making her laugh all night long. When I came out of Mom's stomach, she said the whole room got very quiet. Mom didn't even get a chance to look at me because the nice nurse immediately rushed me out of the room. Dad was in such a hurry to follow her that he dropped the video camera, which broke into a million pieces. And then Mom got very upset and tried to get out of bed to see where they were going, but the farting nurse put her very big arms on Mom to keep her down in the bed. They were practically fighting because Mom was hysterical and the farting nurse was yelling at her to stay calm. And then they both started screaming for the doctor. But guess what? He had fainted right on the floor. So when the farting nurse saw that he had fainted, she started pushing him with her foot to get him to wake up, yelling at him the whole time. "What kind of doctor are you? What kind of doctor are you? Get up, get up." And then all of a sudden, she let out the biggest, the loudest, smelliest fart in the history of farts. Mom thinks it was actually the fart that finally woke the doctor up. Anyway, when Mom tells this story, she acts out all the parts, including the farting noises. And it's so funny. Mom says the farting nurse turned out to be a very nice woman. She stayed with Mom the whole time. Didn't even leave her side after Dad came back and the doctors told them how sick I was. Mom remembers exactly what the nurse whispered in her ear when the doctor told her I probably wouldn't live through the night. "Everyone born of God overcometh the world." And the next day, after I had lived through the night, it was that nurse who held Mom's hand when they brought her to me for the first time. Mom says by then they had told her all about me. She had been preparing herself for seeing of me, but she says that when she looked down into my tiny, mushed-up face for the first time, all she could see was how pretty my eyes were. Mom is beautiful, by the way, and Dad is handsome, and Via is pretty, in case you were wondering. Christopher's house. I was really bummed when Christopher moved away 3 years ago. We were both around 7 then. Okay, I want you to pause. I want you to tell me how old Augie is. If Christopher moved 3 years ago and they were 7 years old, how old is he? I also want you to tell me how old Via is if she was 4 years old when Augie was born. And when you're ready, just unpause. We used to spend hours playing with Star Wars action figures and dueling with our lightsabers. I miss that. Last spring, we drove over to Christopher's house in Bridgeport. Me and Christopher were looking for snacks in the kitchen, and I heard Mom talking to Lisa, Christopher's mom, about my going to school in the fall. I had never, ever heard her mention school before. What are you talking about? I said. Mom looked surprised, like she hadn't meant for me to hear that. You should tell him what you've been thinking, Isabel, Dad said. So I want you to pause and tell me what Mom's name is. When you're ready, unpause. You should tell him what you've been thinking, Isabel, Dad said. He was on the other side of the living room talking to Christopher's dad. We should talk about this later, said Mom. No, I want to know what you're talking about, I answered. Well, don't you think you're ready for school, Augie? Mom said. No, I said. Well, I don't either, said Dad. Then that's it, case closed, I said, shrugging. I sat in her lap like I was a baby. I just think you need to learn more than I can teach you, Mom said. I mean, come on, Augie, you know how bad I am at fractions. What school? I said. I already felt like crying. Beecher Prep, right by us. Wow, that's a great school, Augie, said Lisa, patting my knee. Why not Via School? I said. Well, that's too big, Mom answered. I don't think that would be a good fit for you. I don't want to, I said. I admit I made my voice sound a little babyish. So wait, let me try that again. I don't want to, I said. I admit I made my voice sound a little babyish. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, Dad said, coming over and lifting me out of Mom's lap. He carried me over to sit on his lap on the other side of the sofa. We won't make you do anything you don't want to. But it would be good for him, Nate, Mom said. So I want you to pause and tell me what Dad's name is. And when you're done, unpause. Not if he doesn't want to, answered Dad, looking at me. Not if he's not ready. I saw Mom look at Lisa, who reached over and squeezed her hand. You guys will figure it out, she said to Mom. You always have. Let's just talk about it later, said Mom. I could tell she and Dad were going to get in a fight about it. I wanted Dad to win the fight, though a part of me knew Mom was right, and the truth is, she really was terrible at fractions. Page 10. Driving. It was a long drive home. I fell asleep in the back seat like I always do, my head on Via's lap like she was my pillow, a towel wrapped around my seatbelt so I wouldn't drool all over her. Via fell asleep too, and Mom and Dad talked quietly about grown-up things I did not care about. I don't know how long I was sleeping, but when I woke up, there was a full moon outside the car window. It was a purple night, and we were driving on a highway full of cars. And then I heard Mom and Dad talking about me. We can't keep protecting him, Mom whispered to Dad, who was driving. We just can't pretend he's going to wake up tomorrow and this isn't going to be his reality, because it is, Nate. And we have to help him learn to deal with it. We can't just keep avoiding the situations that... So sending him off to middle school like a lamb to the slaughter? Dad answered angrily, but he hadn't even finished his sentence because he saw me in the mirror looking up. What's a lamb to the slaughter? I asked sleepily. Go back to sleep, Augie, Dad said softly. Everyone will stare at me at school, I said, suddenly crying. Oh, honey, Mom said. She turned around in the front seat and put her hand on my hand. You know, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. But we spoke to the principal there and told him about you, and he really wants to meet you. What did you tell him about me? How funny you are, how kind and smart. And then when I told him that you had read Dragon Rider when you were 6, he was like, wow, I have to meet this kid. Did you tell him anything else? I said. Mom smiled at me. Her smile kind of hugged me. Okay, I want you to pause and I want you to kind of answer what that might mean. How does a smile kind of hug you? What is the author trying to get you to see or feel? Mom smiled at me. Her smile kind of hugged me. What does that actually mean? When you're ready, unpause. I told him all about your surgeries and how brave you are, she said. So he knows what I look like? I asked. Well, we brought him pictures from last summer in Montauk, Dad said. We showed him pictures of the whole family and that great shot of you holding the flounder on the boat. You were there too? I have to admit, I felt a little disappointed that he was part of all this. We both talked to him, yes, Dad said. He's a really nice man. You would like him, Mom added. Suddenly, it felt like they were on the same side. Wait, so when did you meet him? I said. He took us on a tour of the school last year, said Mom. Last year, I said. So you've been thinking about this for a whole year and you didn't tell me? We didn't even know if you would get in, Augie, answered Mom. It's a very hard school to get into. There's a whole admissions process. I didn't see the point in telling you and having you get all worked up. But you're right, Augie. We should have told you when we found out last month that you got in, said Dad. In hindsight, sighed Mom. Yes, I guess. Did the lady who came to the house that time have something to do with this? I said, the one that gave me the test? Oh, yes, actually, said Mom, looking guilty. Yes. You told me that was an IQ test, I said. Well, I know. Well, that was a white lie, she answered. It was a test you needed to get into the school. You did very well on it, by the way. So you lied? I said. A white lie? But yes, sorry, she said, trying to smile. But when I didn't smile back, she turned around in her seat and faced forward. What's a lamb to the slaughter? I said. Mom sighed and gave Dad a look. I shouldn't have said it, Dad said, looking at me in the mirror. It's not true. Here's the thing. Mommy and I love you so much. We want to protect you in any way we can. It's just sometimes we want to do it in different ways. I don't want to go to school, I answered, folding my arms. It would be good for you, Augie, said Mom. Maybe I'll go next year, I answered, looking out the window. Well, this year would be better, Augie, said Mom. You know why? Because you'll be going into 5th grade, and that's the first year of middle school for everyone. You won't want to be the only new kid. I'll be the only kid who looks like me, I said. It's not going to say it won't be a little challenging for you because you know better than that, she answered. But it'll be good for you, Augie. You'll make lots of friends and you'll learn things you've never learned with me. She turned in her seat again and looked at me. When we took the tour, you know what they had in their science lab? Little baby chicks that were just hatching out of its eggs. It was so cute, Augie. It actually kind of reminded me of when you were a little baby, with those big brown eyes of yours. I usually love when they talk about when I was a baby. Sometimes I want to curl up into a little tiny ball and let them hug me and kiss me all over. I miss being a baby, not knowing stuff, but I wasn't in the mood for that. I don't want to go, I said. How about this? Can you at least meet Mr. Tushman before making up your mind? Mom asked. Mr. Tushman? I said. He's the principal, answered Mom. Mr. Tushman? I repeated. I know, right? Dad answered, smiling and looking at me in the rearview mirror. Can you believe that name, Augie? I mean, who on earth would ever agree to have a name like Mr. Tushman? I smiled, even though I didn't want to let them see me smile. Dad was the one person in the world who could make me laugh, no matter how much I didn't want to laugh. Dad always made everyone laugh. Okay, I want you to pause and I want you to write a little bit about who Dad is and his relationship with Augie or with his family. We've learned a couple things about him, about how he helped Mom in the hospital, how he ran after Augie when Augie was born to make sure he was okay, how he's protecting Augie now, how he's making Augie laugh. So what kind of a person do you think that Dad is? When you're ready, unpause. Augie, you know you should go to that school just so you can hear his... Sorry, I'm going to start over. Augie, you know you should go to the school just so you can hear his name said over the loudspeaker, Dad said excitedly. Can you imagine how funny that would be? Hello, paging Mr. Tushman. He was using a fake old lady voice. Hi, Mr. Tushman. I see you're running a little behind today. Did your car get rear-ended again? What a bum rap. I started laughing. Not even because I thought he was being that funny, but because I wasn't in the mood to stay mad anymore. It could be worse, though, Dad continued in his normal voice. Mommy and I had a professor in college called Miss Butt. Mom was laughing now, too. Is that for real? I said. Roberta Butt, Mom answered, raising her hand as if she was to swear. Bobby Butt. She had huge cheeks, said Dad. Nate, said Mom. What? She had big cheeks is all I'm saying. Mom laughed, shook her head at the same time. Hey, I know, said Dad excitedly. Let's fix them up on a blind date. Can you imagine Miss Butt meet Mr. Tushman? Mr. Tushman, here's Miss Butt. They could get married and have a bunch of little tushies. Oh, poor Mr. Tushman, Mom answered Mom, shaking her head. Augie hasn't even met the man yet, Nate. Who's Mr. Tushman? Via said groggily as she had woken up. He's the principal of my new school, I answered. So I want you to write a little bit reflection of how Augie changed throughout this chapter, the last two chapters, Christopher's house and driving. How did he start? Where did he begin his feelings about school? And how did he end his feelings about school? He started with, I don't want to go. And the last sentence is, he's the principal of my new school. So how did he change and what caused that change? And that is the end of the reading for today. You can pick up the rest of part 1 and the other recordings.